Okay, Kent.
Awesome. Thanks, Diana. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the UiPath Veterans focused community event today. Uh, I'll start out just introducing myself. So I'm a customer success director here at UiPath. I'm also a veteran. I was in the Navy for 6 years. I was on a submarine. I was a diver on the submarine. These are a couple of pictures from me in my past life. Since then, I've gotten a lot more gray hair and I've gotten rid of my beard that I had on the submarine, at least for a little bit. But I thought that was, it was a fun time. Not everybody in the service gets to wear a beard. Not everybody in the service wants to wear a beard, but I had the opportunity, so I took advantage of it. Anyways, I do want to give a brief overview of UiPath for those of you who don't know us that well. So UiPath is the leading RPA platform helping businesses automate their processes, and we are going through a bit of a transformation ourselves as we bring on agentic automation, generative AI. And so our platform is now an agentic platform, and we're uniquely positioned to enable AI agents, robots, and people to work together harmoniously, revolutionizing business processes at a lot of customers worldwide as we transition into an agentic future. With UiPath, we're a platform that has full developer capabilities. We have low code, no code capabilities. We have agents. We have BPM workflows through our Maestro and all the fun stuff that you'll get introduced to with the UiPath Academy. And we look forward to talking a little bit more about veterans at UiPath and the veteran community at large and opportunities for you to become part of the UiPath community. So if you want to go to the next slide, Diane. And I'll kick it over to you to talk the UiPath Community Veterans Program.
Yeah, just having problems getting to the next slide, so I'm just gonna take it off. Yes. Out here for a second. Okay, so our job is really to make sure that we're serving those who have served through the Veterans Program, the chapter. And I'm just going to be going through this later on in the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go through Kent, the overview of what the veterans are to UiPath, and then we'll get into some of our service members here.
Awesome. Thanks, Diana. So yeah, just want to do like a couple things here. What is a veteran? Veterans Day around the world because we in the United States we think of veterans just U.S. veterans, but we are a global community, and Veterans Day is celebrated around the world. Uh, Not all aligned to the same date as here in the U.S., and it's not always called the same thing as what we call it. And then I'll introduce some of my veteran colleagues here at UiPath and have them talk about some values that they brought from their time in service and what it brings to them in their roles after serving. So with that, we'll just go to the next slide. So we'll just start with this. So, what is a veteran? And of course, we've got a a defining document in the U.S. code that gives the definition of the term veteran. So, veteran means a person who served in the active military, naval, or air service, and who is discharged or released therefrom under conditions other than dishonorable. Um, in layman's terms, that means a veteran is somebody who served their country honorably in the military service for any period of time and is no longer in active service. So, um, some of you on here are veterans, some of you know veterans, some of you have family members who are veterans. Um, but all veterans took an oath, and that's whether you're in the United States and you see the oath below, or if you're in a foreign military service, you swore an oath of some sort to your state or your state's constitution. Um, as serving your country. And so it was putting service above yourself. Um, it's a bond that created, sort of camaraderie around other service members, regardless of if you were Army and somebody else was Navy. You all took a common bond, a common oath to serve your country, and now you've since moved on to something else. But that oath is something that brings us all together, and the service that we went through, the initiation, the rigorous training, etc., combat experience, and what the trials that we went through. Um, Give us a different background, a different perspective that is of value um, to businesses and has that sort of that commercial translation to what we do today. Um, and I think it's one of those things that a lot of companies, UiPath included, we have a veterans network organization where we bring our people together and have share these common bonds. But we bring a lot to our companies, and I'll let the rest of the people on go through those terms. But if you want to go to the next slide, let's talk a little bit about Veterans Day and Veterans Day around the world. So Veterans Day, there is an International Veterans Day. It's on March 3rd. It's celebrated more internationally. Um, and if you go to the next slide, there's also the Veterans Day. So Veterans Day initially for us comes from the armistice of World War One, and honoring those who served primarily at the time was those who served in World War One as the Allied forces. UK celebrates Remembrance Day, um, and then in France they celebrate November 11th as Armistice Day. If you go to the next slide. And there are several other countries around the world that celebrate a Remembrance Day or an Armistice Day. Um, and then they have other dates as well. So Veterans Day in Romania is April 29th, and that was their liberation of all of their sovereign territory in World War II from Nazi Germany at the time. And there's Veterans Day, there's Armed Forces Day in Nigeria, there's our other Armed Forces Days around the world. And then if you go to the next slide, there's also an Armed Forces Day in the United States as well. It's not as well known and it's not typically celebrated as a public holiday, but it recognizes the active duty armed forces, and this was established post World War II. Um, and yeah, that's kind of, I just wanted to kind of give this as a highlight. It is, so we celebrate Veterans Day here in the United States, Armistice Day, Remembrance Day. Other countries see those days as well on November 11th. And then around the world, there's other days, but it's sort of a common thread with countries around the world of celebrating those who served. So with that, I will stop talking and I will hand it off um, first to Earl, and we're going to go through these business values with some other people from UiPath who are veterans, and they'll talk about some of these traits or values that they bring from their time in service. So with that, Earl, if you want to take it away.
All right. Hey, everybody. Earl Morris. I'm a senior manager in client success, and I've been at UiPath for about a year and 2, 3 months. But when we think about a willingness to serve, like my background, I'm retired officer from the United States Army, but I started my career in the Marine Corps. So I had 8 years there, then I had 14 in the Army, a couple of deployments in the Army, one in the Marines, 2003, serving Iraq from 09 to 10, and Afghanistan from 12 to 13. And, countless field training exercises, 7 moves in a 10-year span, more missed birthdays and anniversaries and holidays than I can count. Um, I think I may have recently broken even. But I'll let my kids and my wife be the deciders of that. But ultimately, the willingness to sacrifice, um, the I share that just to provide some context around the idea of sacrifice and what it means for me, um, and others that have helped me along the way to put things into perspective. Right, the the challenges that I have faced helps me to understand that there can be calm in chaos, and in a way that military has trained me to be able to navigate when things are challenging, right? And being able to understand what I can control and what I can't, and the things that I cannot control, not allowing it to overwhelm me. And I think that has been able to help my time here at UiPath and other stops. But when we think about things like I'm in the sales org, right? So I think about risk, closing deals, ending a quarter, all those things that can be stressful, but there's only certain aspects that I can control. And when I do that, then I have to trust the rest of the team. So anyway, I think that willingness to sacrifice has played out or continues to play out in my career, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Michele?
Thank you, Earl. Good morning, everybody. My name is Michele Newman. I've been working here at UiPath for 1 year and 9 months. I am a technical account manager in the public sector vertical, so I deal with a lot of the government entities and stuff like that. My past has always been working for the government as a contractor or other things. But previous to that, I was in the military. I was in the Army for 7 years, and I was an electronics repairer and also a crew chief on a Black Hawk. And so some of my duty stations were Germany and Georgia. And one of the places I deployed to was Kosovo. So in all of those types of environments, teamwork is paramount, right? And in order to be a crew chief on a Black Hawk, to make that Black Hawk work and all the electronics that are on there for all the missions that we had to go, we had to be a team, right? We had to make sure that we communicated effectively. We had to make sure that the equipment was working properly, and there was multiple facets to that, and multiple people that each part had their own responsibilities for each part of that equipment. And working together, we made that Black Hawk fly and our mission a go. So for teamwork, it was always mission first. It didn't matter where you came from, who you are, what you're training. We just made sure that the mission was the first priority. And then after that, once you realize and establish that trusting your coworkers and everybody who's on your team to do their jobs to the best of their ability, and then also ensuring that, if they do mess up, that they fix whatever it is that they did. Um, and with a lot of that, you have to make sure that you keep everything on top of your mind when it comes to those things. It's a selfless mentality where you ensure that you are doing your job to the best of your ability. You are, working closely with your counterparts to ensure everything goes smoothly. And that is the effective communication part where you just have to make sure that what you say is understood and comprehended. Sometimes that means that you just have to hear it back and ensure that they understood what you're saying. And in a lot of those situations, you have a lot of things that can go wrong. And so you have to be flexible in those situations, and you have to make sure that um, everybody else is a little flexible too, so that we don't, cause more harm to each other when we're trying to fix everything. And that builds that trust and that camaraderie. Because once the mission's done, everybody is happy, everything's good, and all that. So building onto, that kind of background and bringing it to UiPath is, especially in the public sector, and especially right now, we have to work together to make sure that everything is successful. And our mission, to assist our customers, especially as a technical account manager, assisting our customers so that they have, successful, migrations, installations, and any kind of product they're trying to facilitate and program. We assist with those types of things. So uh, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Michele.
Thank you.
And then Diana, let's move past Elliot. I don't think he was able to join. We'll move on to Dave.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, I guess it's good afternoon or good morning to folks. So I'm Dave Melvin. So I lead the public sector team. So that's essentially all the state and local government, Canada, the federal civilian agencies, Department of War, Department of Defense, and also the intelligence community. So I spent, I guess, collectively about 26 years of commissioned service. Got commissioned back in 93, spent active duty. I was an ICBM launch officer, which included a test launch officer. We didn't test the nukes, but we actually tested the weapon system itself. And then I finished up from 2003 to about 2019 as a reservist. And just one comment on that. I retired in 2019. I think, I think Earl was talking about sacrifice and challenges. I think one of the hardest things for those who are still out there doing reserve time is they call it the three stools, or actually three legs of the stool. And, when you look at it, just one comment is you got family, you have your military commitment, and then you have your civilian. And I think the hardest part is balancing those three legs. So, feel free to reach out for people who have questions on that because that was very, very difficult, especially as you rise up in your career and you're trying to balance all of those together. I focused on when we talk about culture of achievement and recognition. So what you see here on the slide here, a couple things. The photo, by the way, that's a very dated photo of me on the left. The one on the right was when I was promoted back in 2012, I believe it was. But I put a picture of this book and I leave it by my desk. It's the core values of the United States Air Force. And yes, it's dated. I got this book when I was a first lieutenant back in, I think it was 97 actually. And so there's three things, right? There's integrity first, service before self, and then excellence in all we do. And I want to kind of relate that last bullet to culture of achievement and recognition. So when I look at achievement, it's all about, meaningful results, you know, excellence, and then growth. And then the last thing is, and most importantly, is celebrating those results. And I say that's sometimes a challenge because if you celebrate too much, then it becomes meaningless. But I also think it's very important. I mean, celebrating wins as not only as individuals and teams has a massive impact on morale. And so, if you're not doing that, then the team kind of gets lost and it's like, why don't we celebrate these wins? The other thing is, I think, how do you instill this into an organization? And it starts at the top. It starts at leadership. And is one thing for those who serve has probably heard the term leadership intent. And leadership intent is pretty put in the simplistic terms, is defining what their goals and objectives are of the organization and inspiring those. So that to me is where it starts. It starts at the top and then it's executed across the lines of business. The last thing I wanted to make a note of, you all had a photo and you were talking about the UK on one of the previous slides. And I recently went on vacation out to London and I had the honor to go to Westminster Abbey. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but there's only one grave in that entire establishment that you're not allowed to walk on. And that's the unknown warrior at Westminster Abbey. I think that in itself is the importance of veterans and what they mean to, in the case of the UK, of how important they are. So if you haven't read the story about that, you should. It's inspiring for how it came about, but it also says how important veterans are, like for example, in the UK. I appreciate everyone's time and thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. I think Jack also wasn't able to make it.
Okay.
So let's move on to, yeah, Anthony.
All right, hey everyone. Yeah, Anthony here. So I'm a senior manager in our technology services. I oversee a team of solution architects and developers, and also oversee engagements that we're delivering with customers. I served 10 years in the California Army National Guard, all 10. I did do a deployment to Iraq, and yeah, I was flight operations. Um, in professional services, I would say that I've actually been able to leverage, and utilize this value of integrity, right? And doing what is right. But I think, when I think of my time in the military and in professional services, um, there's always the opportunity to put results over integrity. But I think the important thing and what I've come to in both worlds is putting results over integrity, might win a battle or might get you a quick win, but long term, you're going to lose out, right? Like as an organization, as a team, your relationship with the customer, all of those things. So, when I look at doing the right thing, even when it's inconvenient, with customers now is we're looking at the long term. We don't want to um, risk the long term relationship with the customer over a short term decision. So really have tried to apply doing the right things for the customer, even over UiPath, um, and part of that is delivering honest recommendations and prioritizing their long term success. The other is taking accountability, taking ownership for outcomes. Like I've found that whether military or professionally, that the faster we can take accountability and move forward, the quicker we can get results. And understanding what went wrong, right? So that's one of the key things I try to hold myself to in the standards I set for my team. The other is transparency. I think that's also a key part of integrity that applied to both. Integrity really thrives where transparency exists. Um, and in my role, working a lot with customers on engagements, especially engagements where they can be in difficult positions, is the more honest we can communicate with the customers and with the team, the faster we can move towards a resolution. I find that when people try to kind of hold off from kind of putting out the truth is when things can turn sour. So fast, honest communication, I think in both the military and the professional work environment has really enabled, us to get fast results. And another thing that I always say is like, that movie quote of like shoot out, I've been shoot out before. Those tough conversations is an essential part of my job. I think a lot of our jobs, it's something that I think I really learned to deal with in the military and has really translated is being able to have those tough conversations, whether it be with a team, with the customer, um, being able to, in the military, there could be lives at stake, right? Depending on the honesty and how fast we can communicate. In the business side, lives, might not be at stake, especially not in our industry. But having those tough conversations, holding people accountable, is how we achieve our goals. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks.
And Diana, before I hand it over to you, I just wanted to point out one thing that I saw from everybody who is presenting is the humility that veterans bring as well. I mean, I look at all four of you, like you guys have done fantastic things in the service, and you've all successfully transitioned out of the service into civilian or commercial careers. You're highly accomplished. I mean, Dave, like we'll just say 20 plus years of active duty service, right? You're highly accomplished in what you've done. And you even made your culture of achievement and recognition. It's not about yourself. It's about the team. It's about mission accomplishment and these sorts of things. And I think that's another thing it's a breath of fresh air that veterans bring to their organizations is that humility of putting others first, mission first, driving accountability, focus on the small things, so I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys joining and talking about the traits and values you bring to your service every day here at UiPath. And with that, Diane, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, I thought the one thing that was interesting about what you all talked about too was the difference in backgrounds, and yet you still bring these values. And I think that, when you want to know what the UiPath community is, I think one of the strongest things about UiPath is the value that it has on how we all work together, how we're perceived in the the universe. And I think it's one of the reasons a lot of us have passion for working here. So I think that the community is an extension of what those values do, how it's communicating to the world, how people band together. We are basically 3 million strong across the globe as a community, which is pretty amazing and pretty significant for the size of the company we are. And I think that, when I heard the values mentioned today, I think all these things I feel every day when working with the community, not only in America, but globally. Our community is not only made up of members of students and customers and employees, but we also have 125 global MVPs that come from our customers and partners who are our evangelists out in the community. And so again, I think a lot of what we do is super strong. One of the things we're currently doing, actually, we've been doing it for the last since June, is we established a program called Upskill to Agentic Automation. And this is just part of what our community does to support people who have been in service or in the government or in the public sector, basically for people who have lost their jobs, especially in America, people who need to get skilled or upskilled into new areas. So this is one thing I wanted to bring out as part of the how we want to give back as UiPath. UiPath has been giving back to veterans and public service for over 3 years now. And it provides free training. It provides the ability to get certified. So I'll go into that in a little bit as well. But this year we really started kicking this off where we're going into series of events that people can join. So if you are a veteran and you're on this call and you don't know about this, we do have a veteran chapter. You can scan this code and get access to the membership of it. In 1 year, we were able to grow this by over 750 members to the network, just for the veterans user group. And this is available for free to all the family members of any veterans. We do have learning paths. And what I do is I team with professional IT people at UiPath, as well as the MVPs out in the field, to run training sessions for our various different learning paths that are associated with our certification, which is recognized in the industry. So this year, we've been providing free training on multiple subjects. We did a series on agentic automation, which is just out the door starting in May of this year. And right now we're currently doing the specialized AI associate just to make sure that people are able to understand what AI is all about and then get a foundational level for what that is and how it applies to the content that we have at UiPath. The next thing we'll be doing is the developer associate through the program, and then lastly, the business analyst associate. We'll continue to grow these series so that we have more and more as more comes out, but it's a huge opportunity for people to take advantage. Again, we had over, thousands and thousands of people let go in the Americas. This is a huge opportunity for people to get skills with people who really care about them getting trained in automation.
Hey,
And
Diane, can I add one quick thing, please?
sure.
Yeah, so, and I apologize if this isn't widely broadcasted out to the members here at UiPath. We entered an agreement with the Department of Defense here probably 6 months ago. So we're now part of the Skills Bridge program. So for any former veterans that are aware of it, it's basically a program where we actually take a transitioning military member and put them in, pretty much they work for us, and it gives them invaluable experience. We do have one person now, Paul Herrera. He came from us from the Marines. He's on a 6-week rotation, if I'm not mistaken. But I throw it out there because it's a way for us to give back, but also pull in talent and give them the necessary skills as they actually transition. So it's DoD Skill Bridge. Please reach out to me if you have questions. So anybody, whatever organization it may be, we pull them into the sales organizations just to kick it off. We have a partnership with HR. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I saw you mentioning some of the other things we were doing, but I think it's equally important. So
No, that's amazing. Thank you for bringing
you
that up.
bet. You bet.
The other thing is with the UiPath community, we have a lot going on. So there's other content that you can explore. There's a ton of help. And this is a URL. It's https community.uipath.com. There's a lot of ways you can contribute to the community. You can do this through writing blogs. You can do this through becoming an MVP, becoming one of our chapter leaders. Again, we have events, we have hackathons, we have a ton of resources. One of the resources we have is the forum, and I'll go through some of these a little bit more, but it's where our communities come together and find out information about what UiPath does. This is quite robust. The complete UiPath experience at a glance is, again, just to participate in events, get recognized. We really believe in recognition. We believe in having champions out there. We believe in people having fun together. Just all of our values just kind of come flowing through with making sure people are trained, making sure people get certified, that this is for you. This is for people to gain skills and to better themselves through what they learn, but doing it in a community that supports you and can help you, and in a community where you can help back when you want to. And so the learning journey starts here. It's basically unlocking your careers to learning plans. We have very good learning plans. We have robust training. Every one learning plan has its own tests that go with it, videos that go with it, and a lot of it's self-paced, so you can learn as you want, when you want, where you want. So just a variety of different things. We also have a very successful and long portfolio of certifications. And this is very important as well because a lot of people want to take different types of paths when they're learning about automation. Some might be interested in being a business analyst in one role. Another is a solution architect. We have AI, which is a big buzzword right now, but UiPath has a very robust curriculum for learning about that. So this allows people to pick what they'd like to learn and then work with us to kind of get self-paced training and work with our communities to make sure that they're successful in taking this training. The other thing we released this year is this community certification framework program. So you basically can get free certification. You take our series, you learn, you get your training credential, you learn about the content that we have, all of that's free. And then what you do is you sign up for one of these framework programs that map to that. And so you can start this today. There's a QR code that's available to you as well for anybody who's interested in getting certified. And then all of our topics are available on the community YouTube. So I'll be posting this content tomorrow. You can find a lot of different topics. We tape everything we do, everything from the executives that we work with all the way through all of our curriculum, just so that you guys have access to everything you need. And it's really structured. And then the forum, again, is the place where developers stay updated, but here you can find out about events that are happening. You can find out about contests that we're running. We have information on every product. We have help for every product. We have news. We have blogs. We have ways that you can get achievement and badges. We have a job board. We also have a bunch of use cases. So anybody who's been in Agentic for the last 6 months knows that one of the things we've really been trying to capture are use cases on how agentic works. What do we do with that? We have a whole portfolio of use cases that you can go here and find out more about. So a lot of people work with the forum at UiPath, including a lot of our product leaders. Come and make sure that the information is correct. And then a lot of our MVPs. will follow us through our series of courses and network with you directly so that you have that hands-on experience and one-on-one time with them. And then again, we do a lot of recognitions. Every month we have recognitions on who our top participation performers are. And we have people who are just everyday heroes. We have people who create use cases. We have master problem solvers. So the list just goes on and on about how we like to recognize people and make sure that you know who they are in case you need help from them. And you can also become these people. We give out prizes. Again, we have a lot of fun in the community. And then we also have a UiPath Insider program where if you need more information about the product, you can sign up for this. It has programs that will allow you to participate in some of the beta launches of products, that type of thing. So it gets pretty interesting and intriguing when you start really understanding what UiPath does. And then again, we have a list of champions. A lot of these are our MVPs from around the globe, and they're just heroes in their own rights as far as being evangelists and supporters of this technology and what it can do. So the last thing I'm going to mention is the UiPath MVP program, mainly because it's available right now. We do this application process just once a year. It's open till November 20th. So if anybody's interested in becoming an MVP with UiPath, this is very prestigious for people. What you would do is you would go to the community.uipath.com site, you'd go under contributors, and then you just look at the application and fill that out. And then we'll be starting the interview process between now and the end of the year. Again, this is a really great program that UiPath provides for everybody. I think we have 40 MVPs right now currently in the Americas and Latin America and Canada, and 125 globally. And then we have every year we change the criteria for what is part of this program based on the products and the structure and the roadmaps and where we're going as a company. So another great way to contribute to the community and gain new kinds of technical expertise. So just lastly is how do you get started? Mainly you just take a leap of faith. I think UiPath has a great philosophy, again, with its values, with the people it has here, as you heard from our veterans today. And we, again, just started this chapter program about a year ago and already have 750 members. A lot of those are taking advantage of being trained. And so we hope you guys will join us. And with that, I'm going to stop this. But if anybody would like to also speak up just about any of their service or what they're doing, we'd love to hear from you. Anybody have any questions or?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am Montgomery Clemens. I am a 21-year Navy veteran. Most of my career was on the medical side, and I was very happily retired. And then I somehow ended up working in the IT community. And we were previously using Catalan. I had gone and got my degree in software development, data analytics, and picked up a couple certifications from NVIDIA on deep learning and on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we started using Catalan at work for software testing. And we are currently in the process of switching to UiPath. And so we are now doing the training in UiPath, which kudos. I think your videos are really good. I like the fact that you make the software available. For us, it's kind of difficult. There are certain things we can and can't do. I have to use a different computer to do my training because I'm not allowed to download anything that's not whitelisted onto our computer. However, one of my concerns is that, and I don't know if this is something that's going to be addressed that I'm not going to worry about. You guys are great about updating your training pass. You'll have something, and then maybe a year or two later, you redo that. And when we catch what's happening, if I want to jump over to the newer one, the stuff that I had already done, it doesn't necessarily come over into the training. So you kind of start all over again. Is that something they're looking at doing, so that if you've done it once, it shows up in in your different learning plans? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, you want to make sure that the history is following you. And honestly, I don't know. I just personally in the community, I just work with the current learning plan. And so I'm not sure. I do know that the Academic Alliance, which right now is run out of EMEA, does have a repository with the schools where they have you register so they kind of can track what you're doing, when you're doing it, but how they demonstrate that to you is I'm not sure. The only thing I can think of though is that your badges, your credentials follow you throughout. So
That
that's why yeah.
they do follow you. Where the issue would be is, let's say I was taking, I think there's the Automation Explorer, and then they came up with a 2024 version, and I
Hmm.
was a good chunk through the first one. I said, "Oh well, let me do the newest one. It just makes sense." That training that you did along in the beginning, which was just the introduction, shows you how to download and all that. That stuff is blank. And so you have to go through and look at it just to make sure that I already do this. And it does, I, I I think it could be more efficient. If that's something easy to fix, it may be something to look into. Um,
No, great
and
points. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Hey
do.
guys, Montgomery, Diana. Hi, my name is Christopher Hoke. I'm a senior technical account manager here, and I reached out to Kent before speaking up, but I can help you answer this question. Um, I'm going to take a stab at what I've heard first, and then I'll ask you to tell me if that answers your question, and if not, I'll clarify. So, when we do our updates on our academy, it's always targeted towards the newest person learning. So some of the information that you have from one version of the software to the next might be the same, or it might be different based on whether or not the software has evolved. But we're always targeting the newest person. Now, secondly, and this might be something I just inferred if I didn't hear it directly, if you're moving from one company to another, or if you're doing work outside of your company on your personal account and then doing work for your company on your company account, you can file a ticket and we will merge those accounts for you. So that is a possibility. That all said, have I answered your question?
Yes, it's and that's my understanding of what's going on, because I have seen the software changes. We are working with, our software doesn't necessarily mirror the latest and greatest, because we're working on a free license while we're getting things set up and doing all, you know how the negotiations go.
Mhm.
And you guys have been wonderful keeping our license going. And I've played this rodeo before, so I can access my work email on my personal account on the outside. So I set everything up on my work uh, access.
Mhm.
So I haven't lost anything and I have been told that I could transfer by a ticket if I do transfer out. So I was aware of that. Thank you.
You might want to do that while you still have your work account. Just saying. My
Mhm.
recommendation to all of my customers is do your work on your personal and then merge your personal with your work. And that way, if for whatever reason you decide to go to a better um, opportunity at a different company, an email from your personal account will merge to your new work account as well. For
One thing about veterans, we we kind of hitch on to something. If we believe in it, we stay there. I'm still working for the Navy. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, yeah, if you're still in the Navy, yeah. Yeah,
So,
I'm
well,
also a veteran, but I've been all
yeah,
over the place.
I'm Department of Defense as a contractor, but
Fair enough.
I do intend on staying there. So I appreciate that.
So was your question answered, or does it need more clarity?
I think it's pretty much answered. The I see the training that's come over here. A lot of questions that I had, this whole brief is really focused on because I wanted to see, how we're going to get the certifications, how I can pay for them. And the reason why I did not send this outside and do it on my personal email, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the certifications that we're going to do require you to build out, uh, for lack of a better term, I'm going to build out so many test cases, so many automations and whatnot, and you get credit for the number of these that you do, correct?
I'm backing away from that particular question. I'm not
Yeah, I
100%
don't
on
think
it.
that's it. I think it's really just based on the criteria, the questions that are part of the certification. But I can hook you up with somebody who's in charge of that, quite frankly. So I just put my email in the chat if you want to grab that and reach out to me. And then I'll hook you up with Bogdan, who's in charge of the certification program. He can answer all those questions for you.
Great. Thanks. I'm dropping it into my notes here. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. No
I won't
worries.
take any more of your time.
No, that's
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for what you guys are doing. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Any other questions from anybody or anything you want to share?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon. Not necessarily a question, just wanted to double tap the chat that I put in there. Dave mentioned it. I'm the skill bridge individual. If anybody has anybody that's interested in it, with the application process through the DoD, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to discuss anybody. This is an awesome opportunity. Dave, Alex, Matt, Evan, Sean, the rest of the DoD team are awesome. I'm learning a great deal. So this is very, very beneficial. Most importantly, two parting shots. Happy birthday to Earl and the rest of the Marine Corps, 250 years old today. Rah.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Happy birthday, Earl.
That skill bridge, doesn't that have a time limit, like a couple of years from getting out of the service, that there's like a small window they can use it? Or has that changed?
There are time limits. Yes, it has changed. There are time limits, and it depends on the service. Within the Marine Corps, it also depends on what tier you fall in. So your rank, your billet. Make sure that there's no gap in your billets. As a lieutenant colonel, I'm authorized up to 90 days. I did not get 90 days. I think I got 58. The Army across the board is no more than 90 days. But I know there are services and ranks that can do up to 180 days.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry about that in chat. That was meant to go in my notes, not your notes.
Anything else from anybody?
Yeah, Diana, if I can ask, this is Chris McDermott.
Sure.
So I appreciate you doing this for Veterans Day and Veterans Week. Is there other events like this, or just even informal networking things like this that we should be on the lookout for? You mentioned, like, I know that during the presentation there was a bunch of different programs,
Mhm.
and those seemed very well, I'll just say formal. Is there some kind of informal, like, chat gathering like this outside of this?
So the chapter, the way it's set up is that, like for instance, what Paul just went through, anybody can schedule some time with me and we can run this type of a session to talk to
Okay.
all the people in the veterans chapter. So if there's programs you guys want to call out, if there's just you want to honor somebody, or there's another day, Armistice Day in America that you guys want to celebrate, any of those things can happen. But I always think it's really good to let people know, especially in the chapter for veterans, what you guys are working on, what kind of benefits they can, experience from UiPath, or anything you can share with them. Because I do know that that's a huge area that needs some guidance sometimes, and also just to know that that they're supported through companies like UiPath. Especially one of the things we bring is a lot of free training. So any value you guys can add or any sessions you want to do, I'm happy to set those up for you.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, Chris. Okay. So I think we're about at the end of time. Thank you all for joining today. And I put in the chat where this will be posted tomorrow. And happy Veterans Day tomorrow to all of you. Thank you so much for all you've done.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.